Used properly by honest citizens, the program allows those with physical ailments to be cared for by those they trust the most. But infiltrated by greedy and deceitful opportunists, this program becomes a money tree, a gravy train for criminal fraudsters. The cases today make that abundantly clear.
For millions and millions of our taxpayer dollars. The Griff Report continues today. The Trump administration, again, cracking down on massive fraud out of the healthcare system, focusing on Philadelphia, where charges were announced against 19 defendants who defrauded the American taxpayer with over $4 million in claims to Medicare and Medicaid. Oh, no, there's no fraud in Medicare. Yes, there is. Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro, he could have done something about this the whole time, but instead there he is signing bombs with Zelensky. The two men at the center of today's announcement, Dr. Mehmet Oz, Administrator for the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, and Colin McDonald, Assistant Attorney General for the National Fraud Enforcement Division at the DOJ. Dr. Oz, you know, we've had you on a bunch to talk about this. Huge moves. We keep getting told, no, it's an isolated incident. Well, now you've exposed like 800 isolated incidents.
It's fraud all over the country, and this, unfortunately, not just stealing our money, it's stealing our trust. Viewers right now are starting to think, well, I grew up in a high-trust society. We created these beautiful safety net programs, and we're going into a low-trust environment where no one trusts anybody else, and we're seeing the perpetrators have a common theme. They're willing to steal from our most vulnerable, and there's a deeper pathology here. There's a corruption of the system that tolerates these kinds of problems. And Colin, I'd love you to take us away, because we're literally staying next to the jail where one of the perpetrators apparently was making money.
That's right. The schemes that we've seen, they involve people who are claiming to give health care to their elderly family members and others in their homes. But in many cases, they're not where they say they are, and they're certainly not giving the care that they say that they're giving and that they're billing the American taxpayer, including one case involving a conspiracy where a defendant was in prison while billing the American taxpayer.
That's so crazy. I listened to your press conference. It was amazing. But the other thing, too, is, you know, you guys have done some of this in certain sectors. Why not a broad blanket system that says, hey, if you don't respond to this survey in 5 business days, we're canceling your home health care grants or something like that. And if they're real people, they should have no problem answering an email in 5 days. Dr. Oz?
That's exactly what we're looking to do. Dr. Oz and his team are full speed ahead in making sure that the front-end security protocols are in place for the first time, really, in American history. And then we at the DOJ are on the back end. For those that slip through those front-end security protocols, we're building a team that's big enough to be able to prosecute you and to hold you to account if you defraud the American people.
Colin, I want to stay with you real quick, because you announced charges today beyond just individual fraudsters, actually against an entire company. Watch this.
Today, the U.S. Attorney's Office is announcing charges against not only individuals, but a company, a home health agency that participated in the fraud.
Does this cue anything up for RICO charges, potentially?
So we have the full United States Code in our toolbox, and we are looking to use all of it, the entire field of tools that Congress has given to us to charge fraudsters, big, small, individuals, corporations. You saw that today, and we want to put all of the fraudsters, from the individuals to the corporations, on notice that if you continue your deceitful ways and you bill the American taxpayer for it, we're coming for you, and we are going to do everything we can to imprison you.
Yeah, Dr. Oz, we've now seen you guys uncover and, let's just say, adjust or trim $40 billion of this type of fraud. $40 billion is like a monumental number. How much of our national debt do you think is equated just to Medicare and Medicaid fraud?
We think it's over $100 billion. To put that in context, if you're working your tail off and you want to have Medicare, this beautiful safety net program that's been there for 60 years, protecting you when you're retiring, guess what? We'll double the life expectancy if we just take the fraud out of Medicare. Medicaid, we're going to implode the system. When you don't have the funds to provide the care for people who desperately need them, you end up losing these programs. You've already seen this happen in Minnesota. Other states now are beginning to trim services. Why do we have vets waiting in line? We have the money if we just didn't spend it for cases that don't really exist. What Colin and his team have done, the Department of Justice, but I think all lever arms of government are involved in this, and that's why the president put Vice President Vance in charge of this effort. When you're pulling all the lever arms together, including getting governors involved and state attorney generals like Dave Sunday here in Pennsylvania, all of a sudden it's easy. Colin shows up, has a bunch of indictments, a bunch of folks who are criminals. It sends a signal. I'll tell you, the most important quote, the most important line, the entire press conference, what was said by the U.S. attorney here in Philadelphia, because one of the people they were arresting, when they were caught up in this ridiculous, he was being arrested in a drug charge. He had to sign out from being a home health care. At the same time, he said, well, everyone does it. What he's really saying to us is, if you don't steal from the government, you're stupid. And this administration is not going to tolerate that.
Yeah, and we're not stupid anymore either in this administration. So, Dr. Oz, Colin McDonald, we appreciate it.
He loves the Constitution. He fights for what's right. He hates the bad guys. He's a freedom warrior. He's your freedom warrior. Watch Carl Higbie every weekday on Newsmax.